Well, I want to welcome everyone to our team call tonight. We have a special call tonight. We want to give a special welcome to Dr. Kedar Prasad. Dr. Prasad, for those of you that are actually meeting him for the first time, and Dr. Prasad, you do have a lot of people that's actually on here that was not familiar with you. Actually, and tonight we're going to get a chance to get to know you. It's very interesting to see some of his accolades. In fact, Dr. Kedar Prasad, he's going to talk a little bit about his radiology biology from the University of Iowa. He's going to talk a little bit about his Brookhaven experience. He's going to talk a little bit about his how did he actually get into vitamin and cancer research in the Department of Radiology at the University of Colorado. We want to hear about all of that. And for those of you that are coming on the first time, I have to say this as a team, most of you on are part of the of our team that there have been so much progress these past couple of months that you found out last week from the company that there is an explosion that's actually taking place with Engage Global. And it was something that Dr. Kedar Prasad really wanted us to do. And I'm going to let him talk about his age. I'm going to let him talk about his visions. Those of you that may have questions, we are not asking questions about, well, I have a relative to have this or a relative to have that. Well, the intention of tonight's team meeting is this. We want every one of you to be successful in getting out and actually letting people to know that Dr. Kedar Prasad is different than anything that you see on the internet. Now, what do I mean by that? Most times you go into stores, you pick up items off the store shelf, and most people don't read who made that item. But if you did, if I ask you to go and Google that person that made that item, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to find them. And for the first time in all of my years of actually being in this industry since 1983, I literally brought up Dr. Kedar Prasad's name and I saw so much information about him that I was blown away. And I was blown away because I didn't even know he existed. I didn't know about Microdaily. I didn't know about the MMF that we talked about. And I figured, I said, tonight, in order for us to really get to know him from a business perspective, it would be good for you to get to hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak, as to how he got started in this program. How did he get started? 1961. We keep hearing about 1961. We hear about 1981. We hear about what he did in the 2000s. We hear about what he did with Linus Pauling. Why are we imagining trying to figure out little bits and pieces when we could just talk to the horse? Now, I'm not calling you a horse, Dr. Prasad. I'm just saying that that's an old adage. Hear from the horse's mouth. So I'm going to ask you to unmute Dr. Prasad, and this is going to be your hour. It's not going to be my hour. This is your.
Okay.
And what I want you to do is I'm going to ask you some specific questions, but I'm going to allow you right from the beginning to tell us how did you get started and how did you make it into actually developing this wonderful product? So just a little bit of your history.
Yeah. Okay. That's easy. First, I was telling George that when I was in India and I read about it, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I said, I'm going to develop something which helps people, save people life after exposure to radiation. That was, so when I went to college, I found out there was no such facility in India. So after graduating, master in zoology, I went to Iowa in 1960 and joined them in radiation biology program. And that's the only program at the time in the whole world was PhD program radiation biology. In 3 years later, I graduated it and went to the Brookhaven National Laboratory, which is the highly classified area. And director has to obtain a classification, secret classification for me. And I worked there for 3 years with a fellow named Dr. Kazias, who discovered L-DOPA treatment of Parkinsonism. Therefore, I became very knowledgeable also in Parkinson's disease and so on. And then 1968, I joined University of Colorado Medical School as an assistant professor. And, and then after that, I started doing research, teaching resident in radiology, radiation biology, and medical student, nutrition and cancer. And so after teaching, he said, one of the students said that, I can't find any formula that you are suggesting it. So I said, I can't do anything. Then he said, one of them said, why don't you form a company? So I said, well, look, I'm a poor professor. I cannot have money to form a company. Finally, my sister funded that company called Scientific Nutrition. And the editor of the Boulder Camera, which is a local um, uh, newspaper, was so impressed with me because she felt that unofficially I was advising her for breast cancer and she was cured. And so she became so much excited about my product that he sent abstract information throughout the country. Also, overnight, we got so many telephone calls. My wife was very unhappy because we were working from the garage. But anyway, so after that happens, and then I said, I will form maybe bigger company. So I formed a Premier Micronutrient, and some of those two guys that you heard about, Dr. Hasi and another one was my friend. So they joined us and they said we formed what is called Premier Micronutrient Corporation. And then while doing so, we developed the product and we're trying to raise the money from private sector and so on, and we raised some money. But one time we were visiting the annual meeting of a veteran of foreign war, VFW, because I thought that is a good audience for our product. And then I got a call from the general that Dr. Prasad, can you come tomorrow for a meeting with the Afghanistan scientists who had experience with multivitamin in their war in Afghanistan? So I said, sure. So I went there and a meeting 1 hour. And after that, general said, can you make a vitamin something like that? Then I said, we have a better than that one. I already made it, but have never tested it. So then he said, then go, you have to test it. And then first you have to get the approval from our scientist. So then for next 9 months, I gave 17 lectures to the scientific group of all Air Force, Marine Corps, Army, all their branches. I gave a lecture. And finally, all scientists said that, yeah, you have some basis, but we have to test it before it can be believed. So I said, I don't have money. He said, go to the Congress. So for next 9 months, I walked through the corridor of Congress and Senate and met representatives from both parties and obtained a assurance of a announcement for a grant application. And they announced it, and I completed it and got a total of $12.5 million, which I collaborated with their scientists as well. And then I also worked with NASA. And so then when the study was completed, then we said, okay, we will have to run a clinical study. Then we went to NHRC, which is Naval Health Research Center in San Diego, and ran a placebo-controlled trial on Marine Corps who are in a training in Palm 29, which is a bad atmosphere and everything. And we found that indeed our product reduces their oxidative stress, and the people who were on placebo, they did not. And so there was one very good study that we are very proud of. And then Naval Medical Center, which is a different building, and Captain Hoffer was the Navy, and he approached me. He said, Kedar, I want to do something with your product with the veterans who are returning from war and suffering from a traumatic brain injury. So I said, well, then here is the region. I will be glad to collaborate with you. Then he got a IRB approval. IRB approval took initially 9 months. They have all kind of questions before you. So as you know, we went through all these procedures. And then he said that these people who are veterans returning from war and have a traumatic brain injury and the expressing the symptoms of balancing problem and dizziness. So they divided in two groups. One group got our product plus a standard therapy. Another group got a standard therapy. And after 90 days, they analyzed it, and the troops who were getting combination did much better. All criteria they were measuring quantitatively. So I was saying, well, here is another example that we have better results. So we also try civilian. We also tried civilian we used in the University of Montevideo, and there, as you know, people are smoking. They are gender volunteer, and we give them this micronutrient. At that time, we used to call a Microdaily EMF, not EMF, but
The military
micro
micronutrient
military
formulation.
micronutrient formulation, and gave to the people, young people, 25 to 35 years age, and it's carried out for 6 months, and found out that oxidative stress went down, inflammation went up, immune function became very improved. So both inflammation down, oxidative stress down, but immune function become increased. So there was another good one. We collaborated on this. My major issue, interest was with NASA on radiation protection. And here we already did a study with the Armed Forces of Radiobiology Institute in Bethesda, where at the dose where 100% of mice will die, yeah, our product was there before radiation, only before radiation, and then 40% lived forever. I mean, for their lifetime, 3 years. And so that was very interesting finding. But in large animal, you can't do here. And so we have to go to NASA. NASA has a collaboration with Russian Academy of Sciences. And there we collaborated on a sheep and rabbit. And in both places provided a very high level of radiation protection. So I was very happy that this product is not only is good for the general health because it reduces oxidative stress and inflammation and improve immune function. So those three things were at that time was the major issue for me. So that I was happy. And then the company CEO was not marketing very well. So once the funding from the federal government ran out, then company becomes irrelevant. So they declared bankruptcy. And then, as you know, the David Nemelka bought it before.
Was that in 2012 that happened?
Yeah, he bought
Yeah.
it. And actually, Jason, who was giving the instruction, golly, in the beginning, I don't know if you heard it or not. I had a lot of stored in my laboratory. At that time, we had a lab here in Novato, and so we had about 100 box of military micronutrient formulation, and nobody was buying it. So once we heard about it, then he came to my lab and used to carry every time 200 bucks of vitamin. And then when they started getting very positive results, then David Nevalka bought him, from him because initially he was in charge. And so then David Nevalka became in charge. And then in one meeting, he invited me and I said, I can help you because once he found out I was the creator of all those formula. And so he said, okay, can you join me? He said, yeah, I will join you. And so I joined him, and then the rest is history. But here is what my main mission is. My main mission for right now has been and will be is that how to improve the health and well-being of in all people. For example, our lifespan has increased. Say what we want to say 1950 because of the discovery of new drugs and new procedures, surgical procedure. But the quality of life remained extremely poor. We suffer from the disease despite of the treatment. And one reason is that prevention, there are a lot of people propose the prevention of diseases, for example, and diet diet change in lifestyle changes, environment and so on. But human behavior are too tough. They don't want to change in anything. So it has totally failed. Consequently, all the incidence of all human chronic diseases is increasing in this country and possibly around the world. And so the question is, what can be done? And so because all the treatment, even treatment aspect, they treat the symptom of the disease, not the causes of the disease. This is very important to remember. They treat treatment of the symptoms of the disease, not the causes of the disease. And without that, you cannot have a good effectiveness of the drug.
So
So
your
our goal
products are
has,
going down to the cellular level, whereas everything else is just treating, just
for
masking
example,
what's really.
oxidative. Another approach is thus far has been approached that treatment approach for let us see prevention approach. Prevention approach has totally failed. So what I thought first, what are the main internal stressors which because external stressor we have a weather and diet we can control it. It's easy to it is difficult to implement it. So I say what are the internal stressor, and question is are we addressing all of them at the same time? But of course internal stressor, one of the major one is oxidative stress, inflammation, and people have paid attention, but they failed because they were using one antioxidant at a time. But is it sufficient? No, it is not sufficient. Because second, most important, the internal stressor which contributes to the initiation of the disease and progression of the disease. And it also interfere with the efficacy of the treatment of medications. And that is called intestinal dysbiosis. And intestinal dysbiosis we call because in the intestine there is a lot of trillions of microorganisms, bacteria, uh, and so there are harmful bacteria and beneficial bacteria. But when intestinal dysbiosis occurs, the harmful bacteria takes over and beneficial bacteria decreases. That we call them intestinal dysbiosis. And what it does to your health, because it has started producing a lot of toxic chemicals, including, you may have heard it, that it is a pro-inflammatory cytokines. You remember in the COVID days, you have a cytokine storm. They
Mhm.
because they produce a lot of these things, and they are very damaging to all your organs, and so make your unhealthy lifestyle. And so I said, yeah, you have to take care of that at the same time. And then what is the third one? Third one is most importantly loss of collagen. People don't realize this particular fact. Loss of collagen during aging, for example. You can see in your skin gets wrinkle and everything, but not. But one of the major, first you have to know that 30% of your total body protein is collagen. 30%. That means it's present in every place, all over your organ. And what is the function of collagen? Main function? Main function is it maintains the structural integrity of all organs in your body. And if it deteriorates, the function will deteriorate because the structure is very important, maintaining a structure. So when you lose collagen as you grow older, you can detect in the skin, but you don't detect in your brain, kidney, heart, but they are also happening there too. And this was demonstrated in a clinical study. For example, at the people who were at the age of no disease, but the age of 49 to 63 year age, and adult. And they found that when they did MRI of the brain, they found that certain area of the brain was shrinking. And and the people were asked questions about the cognitive function, and they were showing some problem with cognitive function, not like Alzheimer's disease, but some problem. And so they ran clinical study with with collagen peptides. They give a 5 grams of collagen peptide every day for 90 days and repeat the measurement. Now they said on MRI, the structure has improved, cognitive function has improved. So this is a good illustration that how important collagen peptide is. Collagen peptide is also very important because when you grow older, in some people, there is an enzyme called DPP4. This enzyme inhibits the flow of insulin from pancreas to the blood. So if this is the case, then you have a prospect of developing diabetes. But collagen peptide is an inhibitor of DPP4 enzyme and therefore allow the insulin to pass from the pancreas to the blood easily, and then you don't have problems. So this is also very useful in case of in case of this. And again, even for example, in many other diseases, even during treatment time, it is so important. So, and then fourth one is omega-3. Omega-3, as you know, has at least two major components. One is called DHA, is long name, and another one called EPA. And a third one, which is not as important, but this is also you take from the diet, is called ALA. But DHA is so important for brain function, and EPA is very important for your heart function. And for example, brain has a lot of fatty acids. 40% of brain's fatty acid is DHA. And DHA gets easily oxidized if you have high free radical in your body. So the oxidized form of this which is not omega-3 is not going to be functional. So you supplement with a new one. And so these four is so important that we say that for prevention point of view, if you use all these four, for example, Microdaily, EMF, it will reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. And you are taking it same time with also probiotics with prebiotics. The beauty of prebiotics and probiotics in our formulation is that we added an inhibitor because collagenase activity, as you grow older, collagenase activity increases and that destroys your collagen. So in this case, in probiotics case, we added also two probiotics which are acid resistant. So generally beneficial bacteria, which is Bifido and lactobacillus bacteria, they are very useful. But orally, if you take them, 60 to 70% are destroyed in the gut pH, very sensitive to acidity of a stomach. Then it goes to a small intestine, there you have another bile acid. So by the time they go to their home, which is lower colon, there are few left. So we decided that our probiotics will have a two strain of probiotics which are acid resistance and heat resistance as well. Because during manufacturing issue, they also face some heat. And so one is called Bacillus coagulant, and this is the only probiotics which has been approved by the FDA to be given in an infant formula. And this has tested clinically and is some value in intestinal bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel syndrome. And then another one is Saccharomyces boulardii, which is yeast-derived, but normally present in the gut. But we added those things in a higher number. So that's why our probiotics formula works very well, because we have acid resistance one. And then you come to collagen peptide and omega-3. So in our strategy, if you want to have a prevention of the disease, you must have a first good diet and exercise, but not many people follow it. But we always recommend it. And then you take what we call it a code 4, and code 4 includes the EMF. You can take EMF if you want to take, and it is in a capsule form or hydro form, either form. Some people prefer, because of the cost, to take a microdaily, original microdaily, where we have methylated form of folic acid and cobalamin. And so you can take the same thing, which is also very good. And the reason we developed EMF, I should know, the EMF formula was that when the advent of a EMF radiation came, 5G, and 5G, as you know, it is very damaging to human health. So that's why I said when Dr. Court brought this point to my attention, I said, yeah, let us see what I can do. So we did some research and found out 4 ingredients are specifically tested against the EMF radiation, was curcumin, resveratrol, quercetin, and green tea extract. So I said, it is all harmless. It is good for, it will further improve the efficacy of the original formula. At the same time, it will protect more efficiently against EMF radiation. And people, EMF radiation has become controversial, like smoking was in early 60s. Some scientists say, no, don't ignore it. Others said, no, this you have to pay attention anyway. But anyway, So that's what develop it. Then what we also say that sometimes people have so not everybody, but some older people have a memory problem.
Okay,
Sometimes,
but Dr. Prasad, before you move on to the other products,
Mhm.
because what we're doing is we're really looking at pointers that we can use as far as to go out and present with people when it comes to that core four. And there's a couple of things you said on here that I need everybody to understand. Everybody get what the core four consists of and why he put this core four together. That
Yeah,
means that you should be really out helping people to appreciate the benefits of the micro daily,
yes,
and specifically the EMF. Now, you did something, by the way, that I was actually going to ask you about. Is a big question out here in the sales field is how do you know which EMF or which micro daily to give to each person? Now, our core four consists of the micro daily EMF, the probiotic, the collagen, and omega 3. Now, he gave
yeah,
y'all a lot of information that you
yeah,
can actually share with people, not all the specifics, but gave you a lot of good information. And you putting that core four together, what type of person would you say you guys need to be aware of to make sure that, if possible, you can get them on this well balanced
yeah.
nutritional
If you want
system
to
to make sure they
improve,
have the best chance of immune system
yes. If
improvements?
the two group of people, one group of people, if you are interested in prevention, if you are growing older, prevention, this is the best thing, and you should start as soon as possible if you can, financially afford it. And the second group of people, suppose you are older and you are taking on medications, so any kind of medication. The only place that we don't recommend collagen is the cancer. I want to emphasize that. But most of the people are for prevention. So prevention, you have to decrease all these things at the same time: oxidative stress, inflammation, intestinal dysbiosis, and so on and so forth, at the same time. And so we can use these people who are interested in having a good quality life. You can start at any stage of your life. If you are interested that, okay, I want to remain healthy for all my life, this is the way to do it, best way to do it. And then some people who are already in medication, which is heart medication, Alzheimer medication, any kind of medication, doesn't make difference. This will improve their effectiveness in terms of prolonging their effectiveness. And I will give you one example if you want. So this is very important, no matter what kind of disease you have. The combination of core 4 will enhance the effectiveness and prolong their effectiveness, and as well as reduce the potential side effects. It's very important. And so, and good example would be, for example, um, the Alzheimer disease. Right now, there is no treatment for Alzheimer disease. One commonly used treatment is called acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. In other words, they want to increase the acetylcholine, which is the molecule that stores your memory, in a cholinergic type of neuron. Not all neurons, certain type of neuron. So they have that you inhibit the acetylcholine, that acetylcholine remain high, and then they can store memory and so on and so forth. So that's the best treatment. But that treatment doesn't last more than few months. Why? Because cholinergic neuron has to be alive for this drug to work. And oxidative damage inflammation is killing them. So
Wow.
until you
Wow.
stop them, you can't improve the efficacy of the medication. So simple. You see, so
Mhm.
the core is so important. Also, and I just give you one example, but many other example is very important. Uh, whether it is diabetes, whether it is Alzheimer, and any kind of disease, arthritis, you name it.
Now, one person asked me a question, and I thought that was interesting, in regard to the core four, and I think it's a good question for you to answer. They had mentioned that people were on blood thinners. Would
Huh?
our omega 3 affect them in their general blood thinner medication? Are they needed as far as blood uh, thinner medication? And also, when an operation, should they take it before or afterwards? Because some of the
That's good.
doctors say
Yeah.
stop it a week.
Yeah. Medication, it would not interfere. It has a small effect. So, but it does not, the supplement that you mentioned, like omega-3 or other one. Uh, but only thing that we say that if you are going for a surgery, you stop everything, all micronutrient that you are taking before surgery, and then take it a day after surgery. Because at that time, when you have surgery, even a small difference, you know, because in a whole body, there is a lot of complexity. They help each other so that you don't get out of the line. But in surgery, there is, so something was not affecting before that. Now, if you don't stop it, and then you might have a more bleeding.
Okay.
So I would say that anybody who is going to have surgery, you at least start a 1 or 2 days before the surgery, and then resume it after that.
Very good. And by the way, I really appreciated something you said recently. A lot of people have asked the question, can I take other minerals and vitamins while I'm taking Dr. Prasad products and mix and match them? Why or why not?
No, because he is, suppose if you, some people take some kind of herbal medicine. Well, herbal medicine, you don't need it because some of the herbal medicine has same biological function that our product has. So why you want to take extra one? If you take a mineral like iron, copper, manganese, that is dangerous. Supplement. It is a trace mineral. And your tiny amount, even if you junk food, will provide you iron, copper, and manganese. And so when I see the element people use it, sometimes people use a large amount of zinc. But zinc is very important for important body function. Our have just right amount to improve the immune function. But if you add a too high amount of zinc, it will interfere with the absorption of selenium, which is extremely important element for your body. So I always emphasize, if you're taking our product, don't take any other kind of supplement. You take only what doctor medication recommends, you must take it.
Mhm. But this is not in reference to also whole foods. If persons are taking whole foods,
No,
can
no,
they
no.
take?
But yeah, that's good. Any type of your food you take is okay. Whatever you prefer. There's another thing when you are taking a food is how important this small thing is important to know. See, when you take a say meat eater, if you are meat eater, during digestion, it produces lot of mutagen and carcinogen digesting process. How do you
Okay.
block it? And this has been done with the in Canadian university a long time ago. But if you take antioxidant at the time, then this doesn't form. Suppose
Right.
bacon, for example, bacon. I like bacon myself, if you take it, but bacon is very rich in nitrite. Nitrite is used for as a preservative. If you don't eat, you might get contamination. And so nitrite, but when nitrite goes to your stomach, it forms a powerful carcinogen in the stomach at acid pH called nitrosamine. So how you do it? So whenever I go there, if I don't take, I forgot to take my vitamin before then I go and orange a glass of orange juice. If you orange juice, you take it, then nitrosamine does not form.
Did you hear that, Michelle? I can eat bacon as long as I drink a glass of orange juice. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
want you to hear. Now, Dr. Prasad said that.
No, I mean, I do. I mean, I don't do every day, but at least once or twice a week I eat. Like
Okay,
today I
very
had,
good.
yeah, today I had a bacon.
Okay. Well, that
So
shows you don't have to go and abstain from everything. You just have to be careful what you eat and how much you eat.
exactly,
Now,
exactly. So diet is important. You take enough sources of protein and things like that, whatever you like.
there
And
is okay. Go ahead, Dr.
no, I
Prasad.
think,
I
yeah,
apologize.
I think these are small things that people don't take precaution, and this helps you. But core four remains the central issue.
Very good. Now, we hopefully you picked up these gems when it comes to the core four. Now, since then, you've actually developed a lot of other products, and we want to
Yeah.
kind of add because you went to Brain Boost, and we know that omega-3 is good when it comes to the heart, the brain, and inflammatory conditions. Why is if a person is having challenges in certain areas, and you may even mention what they are, we want to add Brain Boost.
Yes, brain. Just give you example why you need brain boost. For example, first you have to know what is happening in your brain. The brain, the mitochondria, which is the small tiny organelle in all cells, generates energy, uses oxygen. So brain takes 20% of respired oxygen, and mitochondria uses oxygen to generate, but it takes so much mitochondria that 2% of unused mitochondria leaks out of mitochondria and generates a billion of free radicals. Even during normal procedure of making energy, you generate free radicals as a byproduct. On the top of that, this one. And then brain also has some chemicals like a dopamine. When you get oxidized very easily, then it causes free radicals. And so brain has a lot of environment where you have a high level of increased oxidative free radical. Then you would have thought that brain has a lot of antioxidant. No. Among all organs, brain has the least amount of antioxidant, least
Mhm.
amount. So we decided that how we can improve the antioxidant that we are giving through our procedure further. So occurred to me that two antioxidant, resveratrol. Why resveratrol? Because resveratrol is the only agent that I know of which increase the formation of new mitochondria. So more mitochondria you have cells, then oxygen will be used shared by mitochondria, then would be a reduced amount of free radicals. So increase the more mitochondria. And then
Great.
when I said, okay, and curcumin is a more powerful antioxidant than any other one. That also improves brain antioxidant capacity. Then I said, well, then if a lot of mitochondria I have, then we have to provide some additional substrate so that they can generate energy. Coenzyme
Mhm.
Q10, mitochondria must have coenzyme Q10 to generate energy. And then we have a nicotinamide, there's another ingredient. They both are used during the process of generating energy. So I said, well, even though we have present in Microdaily EMF, but I will increase some more so that they have much more there.
Excellent, excellent. So if a person is going through dementia or Alzheimer's,
Yeah,
then the core four plus the
brain
brain
boost.
boost.
Yes,
Is there
it's
anything
perfect.
else they would put in there?
No, no. But if you're older, you have another very important thing is digestive enzymes. Because if you're older, your body capacity to generate a sufficient amount of digestive enzyme, so that your food can be digested, and they decrease as you grow older. So especially Alzheimer patient, I'm sure that they have poor digestive system, and that can
Mhm.
cause a poor absorption of protein absorption of even micronutrients that you are taking it. So for a healthy gut in older people, I said take both probiotics as well as digestive enzyme.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we just want to mention, we had mentioned that none of our products claim to prevent, cure,
No, this is just
right,
this is just the help. This is supplement. It is what you call, supportive. This is a
right. It
supportive.
doesn't diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease,
No,
but he's
no,
saying exactly
it's
the
supportive
cells
care.
are getting what it needs to go
Yeah,
back and
supportive care.
I like that. I like that. You don't
Yeah.
want to, because of time, I'm gonna move on. And by the way, some people may wonder that's on this call, what does this have to do with getting the word out? The reason why I brought Dr. Prasad on, and Dr. Prasad, you're doing a beautiful job in a simplistic explanation of conditions that we may experience out here with individuals we love that we're trying to make them feel better. One of the products when we went to Utah, and I was surprised to hear it, I kind of had my little doubts about it at first, but all of a sudden they introduced Heart Boost.
Uh-huh.
They introduced Heart Boost.
Yeah.
Take some moments and tell us what the importance of Heart Boost is, because I've had some people on Heart Boost that heart actually started healing itself, and they asked me why. Well, now we want to hear from you. Why does
Yeah.
Heart Boost seem to be so effective when it comes to the heart and the functioning whenever it comes to the whole body?
Yeah. Heart formula was, developed, and we put some herbs there. And two of the herbs are they increase the blood flow. So one of the major problems with the heart disease is the artery get constricted and you have poor blood supply and then creates all kind of problems. So one of the major function of the heart boost is to improve the vasodilation. It produces nitric oxide, like citrulline is one of them, and I forgot the other name. But there are two herbs are very non-toxic. They get very easily absorbed and get converted to arginine, and then arginine produces nitric oxide, which causes vasodilation. Your blood vessels will dilate, so the blood flow can go very easily. So that was one of the major issue of the heart disease was. And so I think that's one of the major reason why people are deriving some benefit. And also there are some other herbs which can improve the function of the heart, but major role is the increased flow of the blood vessel, dilation of the blood vessels, because that causes a lot of problem. I can't hear you.
One of the questions people always ask me is there a lot of people have transplants, and they ask me, does these products help whenever it comes to people that may have to go through extreme operations, such as transplants and so on? What's your
Yeah,
thoughts on
transplant, for example, I know it is for before and after, but during transplant, you don't take any of these things. But I had a friend who had a kidney transplant, for example, and doctor said that you can live maybe 15 years, and then he lived 35 years. So,
that? That's the difference.
and he was
That's
just
the
taking the
difference.
multivitamins, the only one product. And at that
Okay.
time, not available. But as the other things become available, he started taking probiotics and so on and so forth. But the point I'm trying to say that it is not a counter production
Gotcha.
production.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
I'm.
so
Oh, go
whether
ahead.
you are going to transplant or anything, any kind of thing, it is a supportive care. So you
Mhm.
don't take before and right after, but you take the rest of the time.
Now, we have a number of people on here also have respiratory issues. They have
Mhm.
respiratory issues and they're going through things right now. A big thing in hospital scenes is pneumonia and so on. Does our products help people out when it comes to people that are developing respiratory things? Because everything we eat, drink, and breathe promote inflammation. So,
Yeah.
how does all of our products help people when it comes to that? And what do you recommend that they make sure they include in their regimen that can help them make improvements when it comes to these
Yeah,
conditions?
I think the main function for respiratory problem, but any infection diseases, if it is a bacteria or a virus, does make difference. And so the main function is why you get this disease, because your immune function is not working. And so how you improve your immune function? Well, if you have a good diet, which nobody follows it, but we always recommend it, but take core 4. In that scenario, you don't have to take anything else. Core 4. Even in children, for example, if you have a like gummy, a simple micronutrient, it has exactly the same micronutrient like EMF, except it is the much lower dose for children. And people are having great fun. My own granddaughter had never never had any infection while going high school. But the point is that for adult, the best thing would be, even if you are suffering from, then you start core 4, and you will see within a month how improvement is, how it will improve. Your lung function will improve, your immune function will improve, then everything improves.
Mhm. Now, and that's excellent. I mean, I'm hoping that all of you that are out really promoting these products is getting something from this. Whenever it comes to behavior problems, And I know Horace Darnell had someone that he had given a real good experience about and all. But there are a lot of people that have behavior problems. And now it's not only with children, but sometimes it's even with people that are caretakers when it comes to adults. And sometimes people take it personal, but because of the brain actually shrinking and so on and so many things, even adults can be somewhat difficult. So when people are having challenges whenever it comes to behavior problems, what do you want to make sure you include in that regimen besides Microdaily, probiotic,
Those
maybe
two,
omega? Go ahead.
yeah, I think those two are, suppose somebody can't afford it. Those two are must. Micro daily EMF,
On every regimen, that should be
original,
in
and
there.
the
Every
and the
regimen.
and the probiotics. And another thing is for prevention. Suppose some your neighbor or your family member has a cold or viruses, but if you take it, both take it, you will never get it.
Wow.
91, you know that 90, and very close to 91. But everybody got the COVID. I never got it. My family got some for a short time, but nothing hospitalization, but mild
Mhm.
symptoms. But I never got it. And so my immune system must be very good. And,
So
and so
you,
it is important for both prevention and as a supportive care. Whatever doctor suppose gives you antibiotics, you take antibiotics, but also take the probiotics because it will going to kill every organism in your gut. But as long as you are taking every day, you are supplying a new one.
all right. There's one other thing, and then about microdaily that I need everyone on here to understand. When you have cancer, there's what they call therapeutic doses. And everybody
Yes.
always asks the same question about therapeutic doses. And to be quite honest with you, if you took a therapeutic dose of just microdaily EMF and probiotic, if
Hmm?
you took a therapeutic dose, it can cost you $500 per month. And of course, I had the reason why I know I had to do a calculation of it. And the
That much?
person
It will cost that much?
it can cost that much for to have a therapeutic dose
Yes.
of actually taking 27 capsules
Or
or
hydro.
pouches. Yeah, but that even the cap, but it's over $500.
Uh-huh.
Um, but what I've done, which is very, very interesting, is I've kind of teetered it to an affordability for the person who's
Hmm.
on. Most people, if they give you a certain amount of years to live, as they did one of my friends, they gave him 2 months. And I told him, I said, well, I said, to take this therapeutic dose is 500 some dollars. He said, Bernard, he said, they said I have 2 months to live. He said, I got a certain amount of savings and everything else. You think I'm gonna pass over this for $500? But the thing that kind of stood out to me, and I need everybody on here to recommend, when you have an aggressive cancer,
Hmm.
therapeutic doses are necessary for what time period? Well, we know until they get results, but
I
when
actually
do
no.
they
I mean,
typically have to take it?
generally, whatever we have got the data from people who are trying the therapeutic dose, it takes about 4 weeks, four
That's
to
what
six,
I noticed that. I've never had somebody go 3 months on a therapeutic
no,
dose.
4 to 6 weeks.
We had someone came here had an aggressive breast cancer.
Four
She was
weeks.
on it for 4 weeks. Four
Yeah.
weeks. She
And
went back
after
to her
that,
doctor, and
and
her
after
doctor
that,
said,
gradually, you must, because if you are taking high dose, you must reduce it to gradual to a preventive level.
and for those that may have a challenge with taking the pouches of micro, what you can do is get the capsules. Dr. Prasad told me that if you have something aggressively, you should take the capsules, open them up, put them in a applesauce, put them in a yogurt, or you can
Yeah.
even put it like my guy did. He put it in water and drunk it.
Yeah.
But he said something that I think everybody on here need to hear. I thought it was just 3 doses, uh, 3 times a day, but he had mentioned something very important. I need everybody to hear this. He said with every dosage, you should include a probiotic so it will
Exactly.
ensure that it will work in the stomach as much as possible. Talk about that a
Right.
little bit, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah, because probiotics, for example, if you are going for a cancer or suppose somebody going to a treatment decided to have also um, um, radiation or chemotherapy, and the radiation chemotherapy kills all bacteria, increases the level of intestinal dysbiosis. And therefore, it is utmost important. And they have been shown, and I have published a paper on that, that intestinal dysbiosis interfere with the effectiveness of chemo or radiation therapy. It enhances their potential toxicity, at least acute toxicity. And so, but if your intestinal dysbiosis is reversed during that process, you have taken a prebiotic, then that effects is not go. So your effectiveness of not only our product, but also the effectiveness of the radiation and chemotherapy if you are taking will enhance.
You know what, Dr. Prasad, I love you. I really do. I met him down in Mexico, by the way. His personality is just so you're just a wonderful person. And down there, we're looking forward to seeing you down in Orlando.
Definitely, yeah.
I think it's August. For those of you that are really working the business, we're all going down to Orlando to a forum with the company, and we're going to have
Yes.
a good time down there.
Oh, yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Prasad, I can ask you a whole lot more questions. People, wave if you found some of this beneficial what he talked about. Just wave for him so you'll see that I'm
Thank
telling
you.
you, this was one of the most informative shows that I've ever seen. By the way, I'm gonna go ahead and I got this recorded. Go
And
ahead, Dr.
anytime
Prasad. What would you like to say in your conclusion to all
conclusion that,
these people that determined to get you out all over the United States and some places over the world?
yeah, I'm gonna keep this my mission, spreading as many people as possible. And for you, Bernard, anytime you need me, I'm always available.
Oh, you have been absolutely phenomenal. Well, it's now 8 o'clock. We promised you we would keep it within an
Okay?
hour. Everybody here, we really appreciate you, Dr. Basar. We're gonna cook it up. And it's nice to make a little bit of money on the side, but it's
Yeah.
better to show love to people that need better
Yes.
health. And that's what we're looking at is
Yes,
helping
I
people
love
to
my
be
engaged
healthy.
family, and I can do anything to improve their health. I'm always there.
All right. Well,
As
let's
long as
unmute.
as long
Let's
as I'm
unmute. Go ahead, Dr. Prasad.
Good
that's it. As
night.
long as I'm here on this planet, I'm there for you.
Well, you're 91, so we got a good 20 years to have you here. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Good night.
Thank you so
Good
much.
night, Dr.